All right, so I messed up. I tried to do this video before, and I don't know, I didn't save it. So I'll just start over. I have recently decided to, start tackling some Minecraft stuff. I've never been a big Minecraft player. I've tootled around in it off and on. Never been a avid like creator of it. I just play around in it, but I thought I might try making a you know a world from scratch just to see what I could do. And so I I downloaded WorldPainter and I tried it out. I found it to be pretty hard for me to see what um what have a good idea of what it was going to look like uh when when I was trying to paint it in WorldPainter. I didn't have a good feel for uh how it's going to look in 3D. And I do 3D modeling and stuff, so I thought, well, I'm sure I can have a way of making Blender create the height map for me. I mean, that's not an uncommon thing, and I can probably do it so that it I get a good idea of what it's going to look like uh in World Painter before I in Blender. And so I just wanted to share this with you because I feel like I've accomplished that in a successful way. So let's talk about what I did. So first thing is in World Painter or in Blender. Uh, I like sculpting. It's a very intuitive feeling for me. Um, but since I'm doing a height map, I wanted to go ahead and make sure that I'm not changing the XY value of any points. I just want to change the Z value. So you come in here, you go to Tool, and you just lock the X and Y. Um, so let's go into what we've got. So what we've got is for this shader that I built. I've got it so that if I go too deep, it'll turn black. That shows me that I'm beyond the limits of what you're supposed to go through with Minecraft. Same thing if I go too high, it'll turn black. I used the default theme to kind of decide what levels and or where the levels will be for the different colors, so that the default water is at a certain level, so that's where the blue is. It's grass, and then dirt, rock, and then snow. And so I just set the shader up so that those levels would be reflected in the color as you go up and down on the z-axis. And then when you're ready to render, I set it up so that there's a simple height map, and you render that, and you got your height map to go into World Painter. But the main thing is this terrain shader. So let's look at the shader, and I'll show you kind of what it's doing. First, you grab your position and pull out the Z and change that to the altitude. Then I set up this node group right here as kind of the all-in-one thing. You can just control everything from here. So the first thing is the scale. How many Minecraft blocks is a single Blender unit? And I've set it to 16 because, there's viewport clipping if you get a model that's too big. The rest of these are in Minecraft units. So, you got your top, your bottom, and then the default levels for the theme in WorldPainter. And then you got colors that you can assign to each one. It's actually ready to go out, but if you do this, if you connect this node group directly to your surface shade, it will put out, but it won't have any shading based on light. So it's better to have an actual shader in there as well, just so you can kind of see the texture as you're doing it. The scale in my heightmap shader, which is also the same thing, it separates out the Z and assigns a value from black to white between 64 Minecraft units and 320 Minecraft units, or negative 64 and 320. The thing you want to do is make sure that this value here, which is the scale for this, matches the scale for the terrain. Otherwise, the levels will be off. And then when you're ready, the way I set it up is I went ahead and made 3 slots just because I do actually have ghost users on these materials, but it's also just gives me a handy reference to see which one or have those 2 right there. But when you're ready to render, you switch this first. I switch this first slot to heightmap and render image. And give it a minute. And actually, I don't know that it's not going to show you the height map. Let me switch my window. Oh no, I know what I can do. I can just bring up the image editor. And there's the height map ready to go into WorldPainter. Now, a few things I had to do to make sure it is. First is you want to make sure your render settings are set up correctly. So you want to make sure, how big is a pixel going to be in WorldPainter compared to Minecraft. You want to make sure, obviously, I'm sure if you've used height maps, you know what this is for, or what resolution you're looking for. But there's also some things you need to do with the output. The default output in the default scene and this version of Blender, and hasn't always been like this, but in this version of Blender, I had to overwrite it. A while back they did switch it to display devices sRGB, so that's good. But the other thing was there was a gamma, and you don't want gamma because you want the actual colors that are being added onto it. You want those colors to be what's coming out. I also set the color depth to 16 instead of 8. Gives me more than 256 shades of black to go with, or shades of gray to go with. Let's see what else. Oh, let's take a look at the height map shader. So, and actually I put that in there when I was trying to figure. I was having trouble until I saw the gamma. I was having trouble getting it to put it out. The output wasn't matching what I was making, and I couldn't figure it out until I saw the gamma. But for the height map, I calculate the Z value, multiply it by the number, and then map it from the Minecraft units to 0 to 1, and then output that directly to the surface. You don't want any lighting effects or anything like that. So but you can just map an RGB value to a surface and it'll work. So I just bypass any of that. The other thing is the camera. You want it to be an orthographic camera, and you want to make sure that it's sized so that it matches how big your plane is, or your surface that you're sculpting. Which it is. In my case, you can see that it's It's right there. And so that's about it. If you have any questions, feel free to comment, and I will try to get back to it.